Ma'am, can we start, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm ready. Can I start or is there any formal procedure to start?
Yes, ma'am, we have completed, ma'am. We can start, ma'am. We have given the introduction about
Oh,
you, ma'am.
sorry, ma'am. At my end, I had some issue. I couldn't hear your voice. Okay, I'll start now. Thank you for your
Okay,
permission.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Hope my screen is visible at your end, ma'am. Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible,
So,
ma'am.
good
Yes,
morning
ma'am.
to one and all, and sorry for a few minutes delay. And the topic what I've taken is heterogeneous path of research in academic. I'm going to share with you the ideas or the a pathway what I have come across. Okay, today I'm going to share the knowledge what I have gained in terms of research by getting inside my choosing my research problem, or how I've gone for my publications, how I've gone for my patent and all those things. And this is the overall content what I have going to deliver today to you all. And what is research? Basically, when people say it is research, where we are searching for something repeatedly, we can say that when you go for your research, so what it happens is the searching process, or why do we go for that search? So where the problem lies? Are we sticking with, or are we trying to dig something? So what it is we are trying to find a solution for a problem at one end, or it can be where we are trying to find a problem to gain a solution. So where we stuck between us, it depends upon the situation what we take in the research. And once you end up your research, you say that I have done a research on it, it is sure that you have contributed something new to the existing knowledge. Already you might have searched something, you have gained some knowledge, and you might have got everything done at your end. And when you disseminate, or when you come out with your new findings, then it is sure that where you have added something to the existing knowledge. So that would be the end goal of your research. And while you're going to for your research, how things are going to take up, or how things are going to move on us, we have to see that once you decide, or you're keeping on searching something, you're trying to find a problem, and or when you're working on a particular thing and you find that there lies an issue in it, the problem has been chosen. So once you choose a problem, you're trying to find a solution for it. So before trying to find a solution for it, we have to look into it whether the problem has been solved at any end. It's not about the particular institution or particular city. We have to look over that the problem has not been solved at any place, and from there we start developing a problem. And the problem has come out, we are trying to find a solution for it. Before going into the step for finding out a solution, we look into that the problem has not been solved by anyone. Once that it's over, we are developing a plan to solve it. So the plan is the agenda, or the steps, or the knowledge what you have planned to carry out in order to achieve your goal. So you have to plan accordingly and you start solving it. So in order to solve it, you come out with evaluating the methods or algorithms, whatever you're trying to come out within a new thing, and you finally say that this is my result, which does not exist. Being in an academic fraternity, the reasons why do we go for research is, as I was thinking and I was gathering the points, the reason may be of in two category. The one is about, as I've joined for my in an institution, I would like to go for this course, this is part of my curriculum, so I'm going for my research, one case. And another case what you can say is, I'm in a teaching profession, or I'm in a business analysis, or I would like to go for a data as a data scientist, or whatever it may be. I would like to enhance something in my career path, or in order to go smoothly in my career path, I need this to be done. So that is one reason we go for our research. And I say that it looks good something in if it is in my CV. When I put my PhD, when I put my doctorate in my CV, it sounds good. That reason we may go for it. Or you can feel that I have set of data where I can explore it on that data, then I can go for my research. So this is one way where we are indirectly push it towards our research. When it comes with the other end, where the interest or something triggers it towards the research. I'm interested in this particular area. I have done some work on it. Why not I can explore it more so that I can gather more data. I feel that this is too challenging for me. So why don't I make a solution so that it can be more simplified, where it can reach the public or reach the fraternity who is looking for it. And or I can say that my job is related to particular domain. I can take up on this and I can explore more. Or finally, you can end up that I've joined research and my guide is specialized in this domain, so I'm working on this domain. So, for various reasons, we come into the concept of research to carry out a task, either for the degree sake or for gaining a knowledge or to get stabilized or strong in that particular domain or whatever the reason may be. And when you go for your research, the major thing, the first thing, everywhere the question rises, once you solve this problem, who does, to whom does it goes for? Okay, so whenever we choose a problem at the end, or we are trying to find a solution to it, so we should think of it. I'm going to add some knowledge to it. That is right. Apart from it, we have to look into that how far it is going to the community at certain extent, so that has to be taken into consideration. And another thing is, sometimes it may inspire you, so which is going to be the next booming thing in the next decades. So that may be, or as I said you earlier, it's like something challenging where I can take up and I can move forward. So to make it more simplified for others. So once you choose a problem, it should be in such a way that it should be too specific, not too general. So I'll say you with an example. Just I'm coming to the touch of computer science. Since I'm from the domain of computer science, my few examples will lie with the computer science, but I'll go more generic. Since the generic in the sense, when you are choosing a problem, when it is of too general, then we cannot carry out a research where we'll be sitting blank for months together. We will not able to identify a problem when you're choosing a genre. Suppose if I say that I'm going to work in the field of computer science, okay, so my domain is computer science, I'm going to work on it, okay, that's good. And next step is, okay, in computer science, what you're going to plan for it and what concept you're going to plan for it. Then I'm coming a step down stating that I'm going to plan, or I'm planning to work on networking, okay, that's good. Then I'm coming and next step down, okay, it's networking. So I start reading papers or I start researching something to know what is networking, how would the communication happens, and what are the technology lies. Okay, can I go with a generic terminology called networking? No. Then I'm going into the, after reading the base papers, I try to understand what is networking. And again, I'm coming to an one step down stating that am I going to work with a wired environment, or I'm going to work with a wireless environment. So there lies a step of streaming, or where the field has been divided into two, whether I'm going to step inside wired or I'm going to step inside wireless. So that part will be over. And once after that, then what it happens is, okay, I've chosen that I'm going to work in a wireless. Okay, I'll start reading papers, or reading the concepts or gaining knowledge. What are the various technologies applied in the wireless environment? Then I go with an exploring what are all the concepts lies in wireless, what are all the challenging things in wireless. Now we talk about the 4G and 5G environment. Okay, how things are going on, what can be enhanced to go for the next generation. So that would be the quite challenging. So what is the other challenge when we say about the network bandwidth or whatever it may be? So why it happens? So that is where we are trying to explore more knowledge on it, and I'm choosing about whether I'm going for a wireless Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi or LTE, or it may be of sensor networks. So again, I'm getting a step down. So right from my computer science, I went into networking. From networking, I streamed to wired and wireless. Again, I've chosen wireless, and then wireless, I have chosen whether it can be a Bluetooth based communication, or it can be a Wi-Fi based communication, or it can be a sensor based communication, or it can be an LTE. So the streamline in wireless, we have to be scattered. Then I have to look into, am I going to focus on the purpose of making a transmission in these technologies, or am I going to focus on the security aspects, what it is live state? So I'm going too specific towards it. I've chosen among Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, LTE, and sensor. I have streamlined now to a sensor network. From sensor, I'm planning to design. I'm looking into it. Am I going to focus on its networking, transmission, routing, or am I going to focus on the security? So that will be a criteria where it takes up, and from there I'll start my research. So there, this is a one where you are streamlining to a specific title, or no, it's not about title, specific concept where you're going to work. So now I streamline to sensor networks, and in sensor networks I'm going to focus on routing or transmission. So the work related to transmission in sensor networks with regard to wireless environment, I'll digging, starting gaining knowledge in deep about it, and there your real problem research has been started. So this way you have to go with identifying the particular specific concept in your field, and then you have to start working on it. And this is what I have experienced. So we may get an idea, as I was saying, gather the idea. The reasons may be many things. I may have my data, or it may be challenging for me, so I'm trying to explore it, or I'm interested in that particular domain. So how do you gain it? So the one thing it is stating is either the research activities, the research forums, the discussions, or whatever it may be, which makes you a point, which sticks into your mind, that why not this, why this is so. Some particular particular concepts may be hindering us in order to go towards us, that may be. Or it can be you might be going on with a reading of particular concepts, or you're going, you are a regular reader of ACM magazine, let us assume that. Then what it happens is, when you start reading, so the new innovations will be coming into articles in magazines. So what will happen, that new things what they have explored based on your reading, you may take a path from there. Or you might have observed that this is quite challenging when I work on it, why not I can make it more simplified. Or I can, you can say that I am working in this networking with regard to the communication for a long period of time, and based on this experience, I feel that this path can be taken in another way. So these are all the certain things which sticks into your mind, which triggers you towards the research. So once you start with your research, what happens is, the ideas keeps exploring. So your background mind keeps processing. If you feel that you're going to research, you're going to do something, either it may be research or any other activity in your college, or it may be the national seminar, the organizers, in your organizer's mind it will be in the background. Though you go to your home, the something is digging at you, stating about what is the tomorrow's schedule, putting out a reminder. Similar way, whatever activity we take up, it's obvious that the ideas keeps in our mind sparking. It's not the case that it always stands with us for a period of time. So it is, one second. So I just now I saw madam's, so okay. So the ideas come in and go out. So when you say that ideas come and go out, this is my experience. What I am sharing with you is, I was in an invigilation duty. At that time, I've done with my PhD. I was working for an institution. It's a 2.5 hours invigilation duty. I was walking in the hall, and we two faculty are sharing a hall. So what had happens is, I'm in a situation that I have to go for my guideship. To get my guideship, it's sure that after a PhD we have to get the uh, in order to get the guideship, we have to go for annexure journals or a good journal publication. So I was thinking that what I can do in order to extend my research in order to go for my publication. So when I was in that invigilation duty, the 2 hours, it was the mind was going throughout the day, throughout the 2 hours, and then finally I came out with 4 5 ideas. It's around not only 4 5. I came out with hardly 8 ideas. It came into my mind, and what had happened is, uh, and I was thinking, and it was quite interesting. I was feeling happy when I came out of the hall that, and the day schedule was very hectic for me. And at the end of the day, that night it was gone. The next day, the same thing has gone. At the weekend, I sat and I started jotting out the points, whatever the idea came in. Among the 8 points, I was able to list only 2 points. The thing is, the when you start doing a research, when you think something what you have to do, what it happens is the mind sparks out, comes with an idea after a few fraction of seconds or a few minutes or a half a day, a few hours, it goes out because the idea sparks then and there. So once you have decided that you're going to going for a research, it is sure that you always have a point out or list out, or you store it in your mobile. It's sure that everyone will have your mobile phones in your hand. So jot it down the points, whatever sparks in your mind. The idea which sparks now will not be appearing similar to your memory in RAM. So it's active for certain period of time. So make it active, always point out somewhere so that those ideas can be combined together in order to generate your problem. So that is one suggestion what I have experienced from my end. And once you choose your problem, the problem can be in 3 ways. When it comes in the jot it out based on the in the field of computer science, it can be totally innovative. That is, no one has developed on this part, so I'm trying to introduce something. So for example, if I'm saying that, suppose if I'm trying to keep a sensors on a keyboard, which has not, we have not seen anywhere sensors in a computer keyboard. You don't have any sensors on the keyboard as of now. So when you try to incorporate a sensors on the keyboard to measure something, the pattern of typing of a user or the speed of typing of a user, or you feel that the stress measurement or whatever it may be, so then I can say that my work is focusing on the innovative approach. And second thing is, when I say that I'm going to focus on the existing methods of protocols. So already I have certain protocols. I'm trying to refine the protocol so that my efficiency will be improved. So that is another case where we can go for it. Or you can go for a third approach called hybrid approach, where I say that two methods are doing good. So one method is doing with the reliability and another method is doing with energy efficiency. But I don't have any method which talks in terms of both energy efficiency and reliability. Then I can combine those two methods and come out with a new method stating that this method comes with a total pack of this efficiency. So this is how you have to decide when you go for your problem selection. So as I said, it cannot be started to generic term, be more specific. Once you come to a specific environment, then focus on it like in such a way that where your innovative, it can be innovative, or it can be from the existing, you're trying to modify something in order to come out with an enhanced approach, or it can be hybridization. So the problem selection is left to your choice. The specialization what you choose, from there you take a kickstart from here. And basically when you come for your academic research, when you say that, it's one thing is about innovation. The innovation lies here is something new which I've experienced. Why not like this? So I'm sitting in a sofa now. I don't feel comfortable like an office environment. So what I feel that a chair, when I say that over my voice, I say that this is not the right position. The chair keeps adjusting to my position, which is a comfortable. A sofa, even we have recliners. The recliners does not do the job of our comfortness. It has a certain position. So based on the user, every user comfortness, the handle of the sofa or the posture where I put my back or whatever it may be, if something new, then it is like where you don't have a base papers. The base papers can be the idea of how the chair gets manufactured, what are the facilities offered in the chair. From that, you can start your research. But suppose if you're going for the other two categories, what I said in these things, either if you're taking up from the existing method or you're going with a hybrid approach, it is sure you go for the concept of base paper. What is that base paper? So the paper where you consider or you have taken up the idea stating that this sounds good. From here, I'm going to start my work. So that is called as a base paper. So when you go with your research, the people ask that what is your which is your base paper? From here, from where you have taken this idea? Then I can say that these are the papers what I've referred, and then and from where that paper or the thing work starts here. And when you select your papers, so make sure that you go with your discipline specialization. The discipline specialization can be in any form. So that is one point. And another thing is what journals you take up. So when you go with a journal specification, so the journal can be like when it is indexed in SCI and SCIE. So I have seen, or it of my experience, initially when I started my research, I've taken one paper, I have taken three base papers, one paper from an conference paper. So the conference paper, once I took my guide and he said, don't take any conference paper, prefer some foreign author papers. That's all he said to me. And I was wondering, why not the conference paper? So as it's not the case that I'm saying that conference papers are not good, I say that the conference paper will not have a detailed specifications on the methodologies, because it will be a page restricted papers with a 5 to 6 page of restriction. So what it happens is with that restriction, they cannot come out or give a detailed explanation of what they're trying to say. So when you choose a base paper, make sure it has an SCI or SCI indexing so that the stability of the work will be strong enough to go ahead. So that is one. And second thing, when you choose your base papers, it should be from the recent publication. It may be of past 3 4 years data from that work if you start, because our research may be of 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. It can be extended. So when you take of 10 years old paper, then it's quite difficult to make things happen. So go with the paper which has a recent publication, not more than 5 years. It should be within your 5 year period. So then from there, if you start your research, then it would be good. And as I said, when you take a base paper, so the base paper can be something like comparison papers, or they might have come out with a new algorithm, architecture, or protocol, whatever it may be. From that architecture, try to understand what that architecture specifies and how they have analyzed their results and how they have concluded, and what is something challenging or lacking in that paper. That lacking, that gap can be filled through your research contribution. So that is how you have to choose your base paper. And when you write your papers, now I'm just about, you have chosen your problem. It's like the steps what I've said right now was, now we have decided to do a research and we have decided about the two specific topic, and that specific topic will start reading the papers. From that paper you might have chosen your base paper. It cannot be, it can be more than one base paper. 2 3 papers can be considered as a base to carry out your research. Everything is done, you start doing your research. And once you start doing your research right from the beginning of the paper, we take up or go for writing papers also. So when you write your papers, the papers can be in three major models. So one is like full or original papers. The full or original paper, when you write a paper, the full and original paper indicates that that paper is going to have an elaborate discussion about the work, what you have taken up, what you have implemented or deployed, or what you have conducted a survey and the questionnaires have come out with a graph or analytics, or where you have tried to incorporate into some tools and you're trying to come out with the results stating that this is my work. So that will be a full or original papers when you write a paper. And when you write your review paper, I've seen people, once they join research, within a period of 3 months, they'll start writing their review papers. At one case, it is like they might have expert, so daily they might have gone through 50 papers, or totally they might have gone for 50 papers. So once if you are confident enough that you are strong in reading or understanding the concepts in your the paper whatever you have read, then it is sure you can start writing your review papers. So when you write your review papers, it is sure you might have gone through hundreds of papers, and among that you have chosen 50 papers. Among those 50, you're going to sum up the ideas what it has been talked in the 50 papers, and the summary of it will be your review paper. So once you read hundreds of paper and 50 you have chosen, among that 50 you're trying to write a summary stating these are all the forms. And then finally, after reading those papers, I'm damn sure if you're thorough enough in reading the paper, you have understood, you'll have hundreds of idea after reading those paper how your research can be taken up. So that is how. And finally, when you're writing your review paper, you say that these are all the things what they have methodologies or the achievement what they have done in those papers, and you can give your suggestions what how you can take ahead based on these papers. That is how you write your second paper, the review paper. And third model is like letter, they call it as an all SCA journals will have a concept of letter. So the letter will be, the paper content will be of 5 pages. When you go for your full or review papers, it can prolong to 15 pages, 20 pages. It depends upon the journal what you're going to submit. But once you choose a letter, the length of a paper will be of 5 pages alone. So that 5 pages is only the novel idea what you're trying to achieve. So you're not going to talk about the literature here. You're going to state that I have worked on it. I find this is lacking. So I'm trying to write a paper. So that paper will be of the exact novel idea what you're trying to incorporate. So that will be your letter paper. And your short communication, what here I meant here is, the usually when you submit a paper for the journal, the time involved in will be very high. The communication time will be it may be of 2 months. When you go for some SCA journals, the first review result will be of 6 months. Once you publish a paper, it may take a year or a two. So this letter, when you go for your letter paper, it is sure your communication will be a short duration within a month period, so that your paper will get ideas will get published. If you feel that your idea should not be taken by someone, then you can go for a letter, so that your ideas will be marked with a short communication, will be stated with your name, will be published in that particular journal. When you write your paper, so I've said about how a paper types can be. So this is your general structure while writing your paper. So this is the general structure, and then the main text, and then these things. And when you say it is a general structure, it says about your title, author, abstract, and keywords. This is a normal title. I'll say in detail about these things, and the main text, acknowledge. So before going into the paper in detail, I prefer, or I have experienced from the editor stating that go for latex. So when you go for a SCI and SCI expanded journals, there is SCI as a science citation index, which has a high impact factor in arts background. When you are in from an engineering stream, they call it an annexure 1 and 2. Moreover, all your SCI and SCIE indexed journals will be in your annexures also. So usually we go with a Word document, or we convert it to PDF. Always have the practice of learning latex. So latex is one common tool which gives the elegance in your appearance of paper and the proper alignment of your paper, where the editors prefer choosing your paper if it is in the latex. So practice using latex from now onwards. And the general structure, as I said, title should be very short. When you, it's not too short, but I have seen 3-line titles when you write your journal papers. It should not be like that. And the words what you choose in your title should be related to the work what you have mentioned. And when you say it's an abstract, you can call it as an advertisement of your article. So the complete article what you have written will be said in a simplified manner in your abstract. All the editors, they move to the next step of passing the paper or the article to the reviewer when they are happy with your abstract. They don't go for your result analysis. The editor reads only the abstract, and he understands what you're trying to say with the simple points. Then it is sure that editor moves on to the next step when your abstract is so brief and specific, stating your work alone. And next is the keywords. When you say it is a keywords, it should be a 4 to 5 keywords, and those keywords when you point out in your Google search or anything, that gives you the leads you to the link of your work. In that way the keyword should be there. The keyword should not go beyond 4 or 5. That is a perfect way of framing a keyword. And when you say about the main text, it is about the existing work, the difficulties in the existing work. So when you write your paper, it is like you'll have this introduction, problem formulation, results, and discussion. These are the major three things what it contributes your work. So once you go for your introduction, 3 lines indicates about the complete concept. Suppose if I'm saying that sensor network, the sensor networks, the 3 lines can say about that. And you say about the existing work. The existing work you might have come from the base paper. You say the existing work, and you say the difficulties what it is in the existing work, and how we are coming out with a new idea in order to solve those difficulties. And then finally at the end of the paper you always have the contribution, listing it in the bulletin. Let me show one paper. Hope the screen is visible. Can you see the point number 1, 2, 3? Can anyone respond?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine.
Yeah,
So
yes.
at the end
Yes,
of this, at the end of this introduction part, this is a major thing what the SCI journal, the people expect. So what it is the main contribution of this paper are summarized as follows. So this is where at many papers it was lacking. This is out of our experience. Earlier when we are writing paper, we never write it. We say about the introduction part, and we say in a paragraph how the paper content follows. So this is one major thing what we have to focus when you're writing a paper is we have to write, jot it down, stating that this is my main contribution. So throughout my paper, the complete work will be focused on these points. So that is a good way of impressing an editor, stating about your works. When you write your introduction, these things has to be taken into consideration while you're making it out. And next is problem formulation. So problem formulation, as I said, it can be a novel contribution, or you can take up the existing one and from there you're enhancing, or it can be a hybrid approach combination. So whether you're going with hybrid, then you might should talk about the 2 problems what you have taken up and how you're going to hybrid it, and after hybridization what you're going to achieve. So that thing has to be shown in your problem formulation, and these are all the things what should be taken while you're writing your paper after introduction part. And coming to the part with result, you have to state about the methodology or the algorithms. The methodology or the algorithm is what the new architecture diagram. You can say that this is a structure where it comes in. This is the algorithm what I have derived for my work. It can be from the existing I have taken up to a new algorithm. When I'm taking up to a new algorithm, what it happens is the algorithm has to be shown here. The results, what I say here is it's all theoretical analysis I'm saying. So the theoretical analysis, we are deriving an architecture diagram, we are explaining what is the architecture, or we are stating with an algorithm, and we say this is my finding which no one has done, and then we say that based on this algorithm I come out with this performance of my system, of my protocol. And once after that you go for the discussion of your results, here stands your figures, the graph representations. The graph may be from your simulation environment, or from the analysis what you have taken, or from the SPSS tools what you have fed in and you have derived it. So whatever it is, the discussion should deal with the figures and all those things what it has been stated. And finally you have to justify that this much percentage of effectiveness what I have achieved than the existing work, quoting your previous works, quoting your base work. So that should be discussed in your paper. And finally, if you would like to acknowledge someone, your edit may be funded by someone from your institution or whoever have given you data, give your acknowledgement, and then the reference. So another major thing when you write your paper where we fail to focus on it is about the reference. So it is focused by the reference, and the reference is based on the journal format. Suppose if I choose IEEE Access where I'm going to focus on that paper, it is sure I should have read IEEE access paper related to my domain, related to particular area, how the journal has been structured, what sort of references they have given. And they say that 4 to 5 references related to your topic. That was if I say that if in sensor networks, then it is here in sensor networks specific to my communication based, transmission based sensor networks. My paper, the article what I'm writing should have 4 or 5 reference from IEEE access. So that is one added point for your paper to be considered from the editor point of view. So these are all the certain techniques or tactics what should be followed from our end in order to impress the editor. So jotting the contributions and making your abstract more specific, brief and specific, and then references from that particular journal from where you're submitting. And that should be from SCI and SCIE. So the references, mostly the references what you list out should be from their good journals, not from the local one which get published within a day. So before submission, they say, one morning I've submitted my paper, evening I get a mail that your paper has been accepted. You can pay the registration fee or publication fee within a week period or by next month when the paper gets published. It shows the quality of the paper. When you add that paper as your reference, automatically your paper weightage comes down. So look into that the reference what you add for your paper, you can it should be solid enough that it justifies your paper weight. And then avoid having your conference paper references. You may have a few conference papers, not suppose if you're adding a reference of 30 references, out of it all 20 comes from the conference paper, it is sure that the editor will not take up your paper. So that part also you have to consider while writing your papers. And plagiarism, as you all know, plagiarism plays a major role when you write your research and everywhere. So whenever you finish writing a paper, go for your plagiarism checker. It can be Turnitin or iAuthenticate or many softwares available. So these are paid softwares. I'll show a sample document where it has gone for plagiarism check. So once you give it to Turnitin or any software, it lists like this. You could see the color notification here. It is in red color. Again, it has some purple base, some orange or yellow shade is there, brown. And you can have different color specifications inside your document after passing it to an plagiarism software. So what this finally says is, you could see that the total paper at the end of your but after passing it to your software, it shows that similarity index is 15%. It means that plagiarism level of your paper you have written is 15%. Most of the journals, they accept only 10, 15, 20, maximum to the of 20%. When it is beyond 20, it is total rejected. Make sure that it comes under 15 or then that would be better. So once this says that when it is shown in your red color in your above document, it says that the red color sources has been taken from this paper with 9% of plagiarism from that paper. And when it is purple color, it shows that 1% from this paper. So this is how your software shows in. So the plagiarism level has been showed in through different softwares. So journal indexing, as you're in academic, I hope you're all from academic fraternity. So if that is the case, we have three main things when you come for your arts and science background. So that is about the UGC CAR website, and another is Scopus indexed, and another one is a SCI or SCIE indexed. When you say it is an UGC CAR index, when you submit, when you have decided about the journal paper, make sure that the journal is in the UGC CAR list. How to check whether the journal is in UGC CAR list? So this is later I'll share this PPT with your organizing committee so that you can get these data. So this is the Pune University, Pune. Under this, you have a login page. Once you click it and you go for a login, so you'll have of this initially once you get inside this web page, you'll have this sort of a home page link page. And where by clicking your login, you'll take up to this page. If you're a first time user, you give the register here and then get inside entering the data. So once if you're a new user, registration details will be asked. You have to give your registration and you have to submit it. Once after your submission, the login page might have created with a user ID and password. And once after that, when you give login, it will take you to this page. From here, you have to select an option like whether you're going with the title, ISSN, publisher, or about the subject or language of publication. Few journals will be in Tamil, few journals in Hindi. So different language specifications will be there. You can choose anything to our convenience. And if a title is given here, title, and you give the title of the journal and then you give search, this will be displayed with an indication stating that this is how your the journal is in UGC care or not will be known from here. Here, once you given the title and you given search, it gives you this thing. And when you press view, what it happens is a complete list detailed of that particular journal will be displayed. So it is sure that when it gets displayed in this particular login page, then it is like your UGC care, it is in the UGC care list. And if that particular journal is not in the UGC care, and it displays your message that no any journal. So once if you have decided to publish your work in a journal, go through it and then enter the particular information and check in your UGC care website, web portal, and then you go ahead. Next, for Scopus Index, like UGC care, it is not necessary that you have to create a login for Scopus. Just when you give scopus.com and when you give sources, when you click the link, this part sources, it will take you to this page. So in that, you have to click the subject area. So when you click the subject area, it displays title, publisher, ISN. If you choose title, you have to type your title here. If you choose ISN, you have to give your ISSN number. And once you give it, if it is like computer communication, it gives your message stating that this is listed in the Scopus. And if sometimes what it happens is it may be in the Scopus for a period of time, and currently it may not be in the Scopus. If you have a doubt on it, click on this computer communication. That particular thing will take you to another page. When you click on this particular journal, it will take you a page called here, where it displays the Scopus coverage years is from 1978 to present. Suppose if it has been closed in 2010 or 2020, the specification will be from 1978 to 2020. So when you are going to publish it in 2021, then you can say that this journal is not in Scopus. Suppose if you are applying for some guideship or during a period of research it was in Scopus, then for the evidence purpose you can take a copy of it and put it forward along with your journal stating that when I am publishing it was in the Scopus. So this will help you to move ahead even though it has been removed from the list. So you could see this. The Scopus coverage area is from 2018 to 2019. So when your publication is within this period, then you can say that I have published paper in a Scopus Index journal, else it cannot be. And similar way, when you go for SCA and SC Science Citation Index or expanded one, so you have to go into the clarivate.com, where here also it's login. If required, you can link it with your login. If not, just you can type your journal name or ISSN or the words, whatever it is, and it gives you, suppose if it is like a journal has been given in this form. So once you click search, it will give you the details about whether it is in the, we call it in Web of Science. Either it can be a Web of Science or it is in Science Citation Index. So it says that it is a Science Citation Index expanded. If it is Citation Index alone, it will be Science Citation Index alone. So in this arrow mark, you could see that under Web of Science collection, where it comes, under which indexing it comes, you can know it. And another thing is, than going into this particular website is another way, like JCR is one sort of list which is listed by the Web of Science group, where they release every year the list of journals what they take up. So under that journal, you could see the impact factor, as well as you're damn sure that if it is in the JCR list, it is in a whatever indexing it has been mentioned and whatever impact factor it is done, it is in the SCA group. So this is a sample what I'm showing you. Hope it's visible. So you could see that it's a cancer journal of, it's not for particular domain, it is for the complete all arts and science, social science. You could see that they'll have a impact stating that social science also. So all sort of all, for all disciplines it will be there. And it says that the topmost journal where it has its impact factors 508.702. So similar way the list keeps going on. So it has about thousands of journals in the list. So it has been thousands of journal, and they say about the certain thing which is not available. So they listed certain things which is not available. You may have certain journals with an impact factor of 0, and those things will be listed. So when you're going for SCI journal or SCI e-submission, go for the JCR list which will be available in the website. So go check it in that particular document whether the journal what you have chosen is listed in this list. If it is not listed in the list, don't go for that particular journal, because it may be a fake journal, which, or it may not be in the SCI list, where through some your colleague friends you might have heard and they might have published and say this is SCI. Then you can cross verify with the JCR list. So under that you have a Q4 states. Once you say the journal is in the Q1 list, it is in the topmost priority in impact factor. When you say it is in, when the high scientist, the who is the topmost, the world scientist, they may ask you if it is SCA, what is it, Q3 or Q4? Then you can say it is, when it is Q4, it has little less priority, but it has its own impact factor. When compared to Q1, Q4 has a less priority. And certain cloned journals. So in UGC CARE, they have listed few cloned journals also. So once you log in, you could see that list of cloned journals, group 1 and group 2. Under that, you can go and see, they say that this is the actual journal, this is cloned one. So you can check your cloned list before going for journal selection also. So it does not lie much difference. They add a word called journal. We will not bother. We'll bother about this main terminology. But when it is an added word, then it is a cloned one. So you have a list of journals list where it is a cloned or not cloned one. And once you become your a researcher, you should know what is I10 index and what is H index and what is citation. Basically, when you write your paper, you publish it, and either in a Scopus or in a SCI, it has its own citation. Citation is our paper. If our paper is referred by someone, then it is citation. The more number of citations, if my paper, if I say that my paper has been cited by someone more than 10 times, a single paper, I have list of papers, one paper has been referred by 10 different papers, more than 10 different papers, then I say my I10 index is 1. And I say if another paper has been referred more than 10 times, then I say my I10 index will be 2. So similarly it goes on. When you say H index, what is H index is, I have a list of papers. Suppose assume that I have published 10 papers, and among 10, 5 papers has been referred by 5 people. Okay, so my first paper has been referred 10 times, my second paper has been referred 12 times, my third paper 6 times, my fourth paper 5 times, and my fifth paper 5 times. So my total count of paper is 5 here, which has been referred. That obviously 10 is greater than 5, 12 greater than 5, 6 greater than 5, 5 and 5 equal to 5. So now I say that my H index is 5. So if it is 6 papers, when I say H index is 6, among my list of publication, 6 papers has been referred by every paper among the 6 papers will be referred by more than 6 times or 6 times at least. Then I say my H index is 6. In future, now we ask for how many publication do you have, and in next maybe of next 10 years, the next question will not be how many publications SCU you have. They'll ask you what is your H index and what is your I10 index. That shows about the research activity what we have taken up. So this was what it is lacking at my end also. When we do start doing research, we'll focus on writing paper, we publish. And now what you have to do is you have to look for it in such a way that when you write a good quality paper, obviously people take up, and you can refer papers to your friends to so that if they refer something, your automatically your citation and item index and H index will keep growing. So already you might have had a session in pattern ratings. I'm skipping this part and I'll end up with stating about the project proposal, what I have experienced in writing a project proposal. So it is like you have to choose a funding agency. So what is their call for? A few funding agency will call for a period of time every month at the December. Every SERB will call for a period of time. And a few journals, a few funding agency will be open throughout the year. It can be state level or it can be national level. So you look for it, you check for your you check for your all the specifications what they have asked for and make a point, prepare your document. So two things has to be done. One, from your academic side, the formalities of letter from the institution and many formalities will be there at one end, and another end you have to frame your work like the objective of your work, the methodology what you're trying to implement, and the deliverables plays a major role here. Always they'll ask at what is your delivery, what is the output of your project. So that deliverables should be towards the impact of your society, and you have to look for the budget and the timeline. And as I said, the societal impact plays a major role when you go for writing a project proposal writing, which will impress. When you go for ICMR, they'll ask for medical related, how it gets impacted. When you go for DST based on the schemes, anything varies. So when it is in the scheme of ICPS, it is a cyber physical system. So they look for product based. What is the end product you're trying to come in? That is what they look for in a cyber physical system. So that cyber physical system, ICPS will focus on this sort of a mechanism where they are trying to come out with a design or a system or concept where it's like a product based prototype. It's not the exact product we are trying to do, a prototype model, so that they get impressed because of it. So when you go for a particular funding agency, look for the scheme. Based on the scheme, based on their requirement, you plan for your work. And this is two titles what it has been submitted, and the process of work is going on and has been done. And this is one set of activities. Since I'm running out of time, I'm just saying that doing your research, once you start your research along with your career, academic work, or if you're working people, always will come down to sure that when you're keeping on reading with 10 papers, which is something new to us, we feel that we are getting tired out of it. So these sort of small exercises at our end will energize our brain. Okay, so that is what. So I have seen people have some banana near them, so which gives you an instant energy when you are reading something. So this is where you're activating your right and left brain simultaneously. When both the brains gets activated, what it happens is it gets energized. So once you have continuous reading, and it is not the case that you cannot break down it because you have to finish it by today night, then have some brain gym activities and carry on. And wish you all happy researching. Start your research if not, and if you're continuing research, and best wishes. Do yoga, do some exercise, don't strain you, and take care of your health at the same time once you go for your research. And if any queries, you can take up. I'm ready to take up.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a query in the chat box, ma'am, from Jasper, sir.
Once again, ma'am, I'll get back to that window.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I couldn't see any queries.
Which tool is the best to draw figures, ma'am?
Okay, so it depends upon the discipline you belong, and the people go with many tools. Even if it is an arts and science analyticals, they go for SPSS, right? And it depends on the domain what you choose. So when you come with networking, we go with NS2. This is a common one what they go with, and Glomosyn or many networking tools are there. When it comes with arts background, you basically I've seen management people, they work with SPSS, analyticals, they work with it. And even for classification also, they people use R. So the results what we go with, and many graph tools are there where you can work on it. You can generate the graph than the Excel. You have you can work on it. So it depends upon the domain what you're working on. Any other questions, ma'am?
Participants, the forum is open to you. If you have any queries, you can share with the ma'am. Ma'am, I think there is no queries, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, they've asked for your contact details, ma'am.
Okay, it's there in my. Okay, can I put it in the chat box? I'll put my email ID.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we have come up to the end of the session. Thank you, ma'am. Your session was really an eye-opener session for the bloomers in the research field. Your experience paved us the way to carry out the research in an innovative and effective way. It was also an awareness session about choosing the journals in UGC, CAS, Scopus, etc. And also you have showed us how to identify the fake journals. It was very much sure that we got an idea, and it was a platform to publish our publications with respect to our research domain. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really an informative sessions, and I believe that many of the bloomers in the research field will utilize this. And I also assure that there are many research scholars in this national workshop. They would utilize this opportunity, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I've pinged my email ID, and just when you're if you're posting any queries, quote with SNR session. I may not reply you within a day, but sure I'll reply you. I'll take little time based on my schedule. Okay, so if any queries, you can post a mail to me. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. At my end, I would like to thank my scholar Karthi, because through him I got contact with Vidya madam. And I thanks for the opportunity from everyone of you, and thank you for all the participants for being here throughout.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I know you're busy with your schedule, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. Ma'am,
Thank
can I
you,
leave now?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Oh,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay.
Participants, thank you so much, participants. The feedback link is posted in the chat box. You can fill it.